Hello Leo, thank you for joining me. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for March. We're going to get right into it. Today I'm using the Oceanic Tarot. And I'm going to be clarifying with the Rider-Waite deck, which I'm pretty sure we are all familiar with. Cards are beautiful, but they're a little big, so it's going to take me just a moment to do a little shuffling here and lay out our cards for the spread. There's one. Beginning with the Seven of Cups. Possibilities. Move things along because these are awkward to cut and deal. So we have that, and then Knight of Cups, Three of Wands, the Hermit, and finally Page of Swords. Let's see if I can shift these just a little bit so we can kind of get them all in. I guess I could go a little further this way. There, we have them all. All right, let's take a look. All right. So, to begin with, we have the Seven of Cups, which is possibilities. Okay. Yeah. Feels kind of dreamy at first and then very introspective by the end. There's a strong head versus heart versus future theme here. Okay, let's start. So with the Seven of Cups, we start in confusion or possibility. This is the card of many options, fantasies, choices, emotional projections. It can feel exciting but also overwhelming. You might be considering multiple romantic or creative paths, unsure what's realistic versus wishful thinking, attracted to an idea more than the reality. For example, maybe you're imagining how something could unfold, a relationship, a move, a new role, but you don't yet know which option is grounded and which is illusion. This card asks, are you choosing based on clarity or emotional fantasy? Then we have the Knight of Cups. Now, the heart steps forward, okay? The Knight of Cups is romantic, expressive, idealistic. This is someone who follows their feelings, sometimes beautifully and sometimes impulsively. This could be you wanting to make an emotional offer, or someone approaching you romantically, or a desire that follows, or a desire to follow what feels right. For example, you might be thinking, I just want to go where my heart leads. Or someone may be coming toward you with charm, promises, and vulnerability. But when paired with the Seven of Cups, we have to ask, is this sincere emotion or emotional projection? So then we have the Three of Wands. So now we zoom out. This is the looking ahead card, planning, anticipating results, waiting to see what happens next. You may be watching to see if someone follows through, or considering long-term potential. Or you may be thinking about expansion beyond your current situation. For example, you send a message, Knight of Cups energy, okay, and now you're waiting. Or someone expresses feelings and you're observing whether action matches words. This card is less emotional and more strategic. And then we have the Hermit. Now the energy is shifting inward, okay? The Hermit says pause, reflect, step back from noise and external opinions. You may be withdrawing to think clearly, needing solitude to sort feelings from fantasy, or questioning your own motives. For example, after emotional excitement, you might suddenly think, wait, what do I actually want? What's real here? The Hermit doesn't reject emotion. He filters it through wisdom. And then finally we have the Page of Swords. And here We end where your previous reading began, mental curiosity and observation. But this time it feels different. This page is not anxious, it's thoughtful. You're asking what's true, what's being said versus what's being done, and what information am I missing? This could also indicate watching someone's actions carefully, researching before committing, or communicating cautiously. So we start with emotional options and fantasy. Feelings rise or are expressed. You look forward toward the future and potential. Then you step back and reflect deeply, and finally you observe and analyze before moving forward. Okay? So your heart may be tempted to move quickly, but your soul wants clarity. There's nothing wrong with romance or dreaming, but this spread strongly suggests don't skip the hermit stage. Before committing to any emotional path, ask, is it grounded? Does it align with my long-term vision? And am I choosing from loneliness, excitement, or genuine compatibility? Okay, so let's get some clarifiers and see what more this tells us. So clarifying, please, the Seven of Cups. Come in. Give me my clumsy. Jump out, and I stopped it. Knight of Wands. Now for the Knight of Cups, please. Queen of Pentacles. And for the Three of Wands. That one really went up and over. And for the Hermit. Okay, Five of Wands. And one more, please. Clarified Page of Swords. Oh, no. That is a big ups. They're not taking that many cards. Straighten them up and do it again here. Please, one card for the Page of Swords to clarify. More, please. There we go. We have the Knight of Swords. Okay. Alright, so the Seven of Cups clarified by the Knight of Wands. Okay? Seven of Cups represents many choices or opportunities, right? Possibilities. Fantasy versus reality, as we said. The Knight of Wands, of course, represents bold action, passion and confidence, being impulsive, adventurous energy, or acting on desire, right? So when you combine the two, okay, it means choosing one option and going for it. You may have been overwhelmed by possibilities, but now you're being encouraged to stop overthinking and take action. The Knight cuts through confusion with bold movement. Basically, less dreaming, more doing, okay? Be aware, though, this could also indicate rushing into a choice without fully thinking it through. The Knight of Wands moves fast, sometimes too fast. If it's about love, someone may be chasing a fantasy or acting on attraction quickly. If it's about career, a bold opportunity, but make sure it's realistic. If it's about personal growth, stop fantasizing about change and start implementing it. Turning fantasy into action. Okay, the Seven of Cups dreams and the Knight of Wands acts. So together, it means taking inspiration and actually pursuing it. Okay? Picking an option that excites you the most. Following passion rather than an analysis paralysis. Okay? Then we have the Knight of Cups clarified by the Queen of Pentacles. Alright? The Knight of Cups, of course, is romance, emotional offers, etc., right? He brings the proposal or the emotional gesture, okay? The Queen of Pentacles represents nurturing stability, practical love, security and comfort, right? Maturity, long-term grounding. She brings the reality, safe space, substance. So when you combine the two, it suggests, in a love context, romantic feelings that are sincere and grounded. Someone who isn't just sweet, they're serious about building something stable. Moving from fantasy romance to practical commitment, a nurturing, emotionally available partner. This can also describe a person who is emotionally expressive, but also dependable, financially or practically stable. Okay. If it has to do with career, all right, creative idea that can actually become profitable, emotional passion supported by practical planning, or a mentor or supportive person helping you ground your dream. Okay, so overall, it's a maturing energy, from dream to stability, from emotion to security, from romance to long-term potential. Okay. Then we have the Three of Wands clarified by the Two of Cups. So again, the Three of Wands represents expansion, progress, waiting for results, etc. It's the what's coming in card, right? The Two of Cups represents mutual attraction, emotional harmony, partnership, soulmate type energy, equal give and take. It's about reciprocity and genuine emotional alignment. So combined, in love, a relationship that's moving forward, waiting for a union or a reunion that feels mutual, planning a future together, connection that is not one-sided and both people feel it. Okay, can also indicate long-distance connection that's growing stronger, anticipation of seeing each other, or emotional alignment leading to expansion, like moving in together, traveling together, next level of commitment, right? Now, if this is regarding career, a business partnership is forming, waiting for the right collaborator, or a project expanding because of strong alliance, right? Now, the Three of Wands alone can feel like waiting. The Two of Cups says you're not waiting alone, okay? Now, the Hermit clarified by the Five of Swords. So the Hermit represents solitude and reflection, right? Looking within for guidance, okay? The Five of Swords represents conflict or tension, feeling like a loser or a winner in an unhealthy way, okay? Disagreements, disputes, betrayal, that sort of thing. It can indicate a win, but at a cost, okay? Combining them together, though, okay, when the Five of Swords is clarifying the Hermit, the message could be reflection after conflict. You may be stepping back to process a disagreement, betrayal, or conflict, okay, so it's introspection time, or learning from difficult experiences. Something hurtful has happened and you're evaluating what's worth keeping and what to let go. Okay, so the Hermit and the Five of Swords together is learning wisdom through challenge, right? Or avoiding unhealthy battles. You may need solitude to avoid unnecessary arguments or manipulative situations. It's not the time to engage. Focus on understanding your own values and your next steps. Okay? And then finally we have the Page of Swords, clarified by the Knight of Swords. Right? So the page is curiosity, mental exploration, that sort of thing. Asking questions and learning, right? Think of the page as a student or a messenger, eager to know, but still forming opinions, okay? The Knight of Swords represents swift action and decisiveness. See, he's galloping along, his cape and everything flying out behind him. It's mental clarity, direct communication, charging forward towards goals, being impulsive. The Knight is the doer, okay? Moving fast, often headstrong, sometimes reckless. Now, the combined meaning when the Knight of Swords is clarifying the page suggests rapid learning and action. Curiosity or questions that page will lead to swift action or decisions by the Knight. You may get information and immediately act on it. Mental energy overdrive. A lot of thinking, analyzing, and planning happening at high speed. It can indicate arguments, debates, or mental challenges that are moving quickly. Or communication that's become intensified. Expect fast messages, ideas, or news. Someone may be very direct or even blunt in sharing information. All right? So in summary, this combo is all about the mind in motion. Learn, gather, analyze, like the page, and then act decisively and quickly, like the Knight. The key is to balance speed with clarity. Don't let impulsiveness lead you into unavoidable or avoidable mistakes. All right? So my Leos, I hope you found this interesting, helpful, whatever. Again, I thank you for joining me, and please do give it a like if you think the message could be useful for others out there. Also, if you would subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that. We will hopefully see you again next time, and until then, much love to you all, and take care. Bye-bye.